Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me on my page tonight. What I'm going to be doing is I'm sharing my new chunky house. We have a series. We started it last year with a 4x6 chunky house. And this year, well, actually, once we kind of made a whole year work, once we made our way around to a year, we've changed it up, and we're doing now a 5x7 chunky house. And what's cool about this is those of you that have bought some of the 4x6 houses from us in the past, those DIY decor kits, they pair nicely with these new ones. So let me show you what the difference is, okay? This is our 4x6 chunky wood house. These are custom cut by us. And this is the 5x7. I want you to see the difference. Do you see the difference in the size? They look so cute though, paired, if you pair them together, okay? So the 5x7, it just is so nice because it just gives us a bigger surface to work with. Obviously we can use, we're using actually a napkin. We're going to be creating with a napkin. And so this size just fits the luncheon size napkin so well. And y'all, I just fell in love with this napkin. Oh my gosh. Like it's so beautiful. All of my Napkin Club members got this napkin this month in their bundle. It is just the prettiest front door. It's just the prettiest front door. It's a whole little scene there of the front door, the little sled with presents, Christmas tree, the windows. I mean, it's just absolutely precious. The wreath on the door. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually transform this wood block into our Home for the Holidays house. Okay, that's what we're calling it, Home for the Holidays. Now I want to show you this one too, and I'm going to show you how I think they look so cute displayed together. This is our Christmas house in the 4x6. And I love it because it says 'twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. So I just want you to see how cute these two look together. They look adorable. They go really nicely together as a pair. I just think they're super cute and adorable. So we are kitting this one. We have been selling this one again this year. So these are still available. It's just called the Christmas house. And then tonight, what I'm going to be making with you, okay, is the Home for the Holidays house. The Home for the Holidays. And this is the larger, it's 5x7 by 1.5, larger chunky house. All right, I see somebody's already sprinkled, so you must have seen me do this before, because what I'm going to do is everybody that sprinkles this out tonight, one lucky sprinkler, that's somebody that spreads this video out, that spreads the crafting joy out there. One lucky sprinkler is actually going to win a kit. You're actually going to win a Home for the Holidays DIY decor kit. And I'm super excited about that. Look at the little shingles. We're going to be doing all of that. And it is double-sided. I should have told you that. I like projects like this that are double-sided because I never know how I'm going to decorate with them. Like I like to do vignette decorating a lot. I like to do container decorating a lot. I like to decorate on tiered trays, things like that. So I always want to make sure my projects look just as good from the back as they do from the front, because depending on where I put them, and I move my projects around a lot. Like one year it might be over here on display. The next year it might be moved somewhere else. I like to move things around. So I like for them to look good on both sides. All right. So thank you for sprinkling. Thank you so much for that. I know lots of you want this kit. I know you do, and you should, because it's an amazing, darling, very unique kit, and I think it's just precious. It's so precious. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and start crafting it. I'm gonna show you kind of the elements that are in your kit. And then we'll talk about the things that aren't in your kit, like paint. We don't put paint in the kit. We don't put Mod Podge in the kit. Basically anything wet doesn't go in the kit. Okay, So I'm going to put the little house over here to the side. Now, for those of you that want to pre-order a kit, we actually started pre-ordering our pre-order of kits earlier today, and we've received several orders. So thank you so much if you've already ordered. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I did put the link to pre-order the Home for the Holidays kit in the description on this post. So right at the description on this live, right up at the top, is the link to pre-order your kit. These kits are $15. The 4x6 kits are $14. So it's $1 more just because of the added size and the added weight. Okay. Thank y'all for sprinkling. That's awesome. I appreciate that so much. So this is where we start. Obviously, the 5x7 chunky wood house will be in your kit, as well as an entire napkin, not just a portion, but an entire napkin. So you're actually going to have 4 of these scenes, just in case, you know, we're going to have to take a little bit from one scene to cover the top portion. I'll show you that here in a minute. But that way you have a little extra, you know, in case you have an oopsie and you need to patch it up. And it's totally easy to do that with napkin art, okay? So the other thing that's going to be in your kit are going to be actual shingles. Actual shingles. These are little asphalt shingles. They're typically used on dollhouses, right? On like miniature dollhouses. So they're actual asphalt shingles. They have a really nice, strong adhesive backing, which is great. And you're going to have 2 full strips and 4. So you're going to have basically 24 little individual, 24 shingles. 12 for each side of the house, each side of the roof, okay? They're adorable. They look really cute when we kind of make them look frosty and snowy and icy and all the fun things. So that will be in your kit. The other thing that's going to be in your kit is going to be a couple of sprigs, a couple of cute little sprigs, not little teeny sprigs. These are nice full sprigs that we're going to be adorning where we put our bow and stuff on our house. We're also going to, I just mentioned the bow. So this is the ribbon that your bow will be made out of. I love this ribbon because it's polka dot on one side and it's stripe on the other. So you can go either way that you want with it, and it looks cute, you know, whichever side is showing. You are going to have some twine. You're going to have a gold jingle bell. And then you're going to have some of these little guys. I'm just going to kind of hold them in my hand because they're little and they kind of go everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to hold them in my hand. They're these little glitter ball, what we're going to use kind of as ornaments, okay? Now we're going to be actually cutting them in half because they're going to go so much better. They're going to attach so much better onto your Home for the Holidays house if they're not completely round. So we're going to cut them in half. They're just styrofoam, so you can kind of squeeze the shape back, and we're going to embellish our house with them, okay? Yes, I love that 2-sided ribbon too, Vicki. I love it. All right, so this is the 5x7. I saw somebody asked a question. Yes, this is the 5x7. This is the larger. Let me show them to you again side by side. This is the smaller 4x6. Okay. This is the chunky 5x7. That is what we're making tonight. Whoops. Oops, oops, oops. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm excited to get started. If you have any questions as we go, just post your question. If I miss it, because sometimes the comments are coming kind of fast, just post it again, and I will try to do my best to answer any questions that you have. I'm going to kind of pull my sleeves up here because the very first thing we're going to do, y'all, is we're going to paint. We're going to paint. Because we're doing napkin art, for those of you that have never done napkin art before, you have to know that we're going to be separating the tissues, separating the layers of or plies of the napkin. So we're only going to be using this very top napkin tissue, right? It's very thin, very translucent. And y'all, I want my snow to be white. I want the snow on the ground here to be white. I want the panels around the door to be white. If I just put them onto this raw wood, the raw wood would show through and the white would kind of disappear. And here's a really great example of that. This is the Christmas house. So this Christmas house, the napkin we used on it, okay, is actually white. It has a white background, but we didn't paint the house. So can you see how the wood just comes right through, right? I say it's white. It's kind of an off-white, but the wood comes right through it because we did not paint it. So that's something really cool that you can do with your napkin art. But for me, for today, I'm going to paint because I want all of my white stuff to really look white. I don't want it to take on the look of the wood. Okay? Jenna, you'll be contacted as soon as they're ready. I know the girls are working on them. So I'm sure Susan or Kristen, somebody will email you as soon as they're ready to pick up. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to use Simplicity. This color is called Simplicity. It's a very, very pure white. And it is chalk paint from Country Chic Paints. Those are the paints I carry in my studio because they are my favorite. I love to use them to paint in my crafting projects because they're just awesome, and they have really, really great coverage. Really great coverage. Plus, you can distress them. You can do other things to them. And I really love that. I'm going to do something really quick here. Because we hand cut these, sometimes they can be a little furry on the corners where they get cut right here for the house. So I'm just taking a piece of sandpaper just to sand off any little fuzzies that might be there on the wood, little splintery parts, okay? So I'm using Simplicity. Chalk paints have a great adhesion. You can put chalk paint on any kind of surface. And I love using it on projects like this because it usually just takes one coat, whereas some acrylic paints the wood can really soak it up, and then you have to use multiple coats. So I'm starting off just by going around my house here. Just going to go around. It doesn't have to be like a perfect paint job. But I just want to make sure it's really pretty and white because that is going to look like when it's a really pure white, it's going to keep the colors of my napkin totally pure, and it's really going to make them pop and be vibrant, like a spotlight shining through them. All right, so I'm going to try to paint fast, and I have my heat tool here. That can help me dry as I go. Of course, you don't have to paint this fast at home because you'll be at home and you can take your time. All right, so here we go. I'm going to plop a little bit of paint here on this side. So everything gets painted white. The front, the back, all of the chunky edges. They all get painted white. And like I said, one coat should do it, especially if you're using chalk paint. And again, the color I'm using is Simplicity. And by the way, if you do decide to pre-order a kit, when you pre-order, there'll be a little list there that will show like the other items that I used, paints and stickles and things like that. So you can throw those in your cart if you need them. A lot of you have this stuff in your stash already. You like watching all the steps? Good. You just need the wood. Okay, we do sell the wood separately, just the 5x7 wood house separately. So that's not a problem. Just want to make sure this side is dry enough for me to turn it over. Let's see, I'm going to set that right there. So these chunky houses, they just look so cute. I'm going to show you how I'm using mine, how I'm decorating with mine. Give you some ideas of how you can decorate with them. they're great because they could just be cute as a shelf sitter. Obviously really cute if you do any tiered tray type decorating or vignette type decorating. I like to decorate in containers sometimes, which is one idea that I'm going to show you once we get this guy done. All right, that should do it for the paint. Very easy. And luckily for us, the chalk paint dries really fast with the heat tool. Is the napkin in December bundle, or can we purchase the napkin separately? The napkin, Deb, is in the December bundle. So if you're in my napkin club, you're getting this napkin. It's coming to you in the December bundle. Okay. Just want to make sure the sides are pretty dry here. Turn it a little bit. Okay, I think we're ready to go. So now we've got our coat of paint on here. The next thing we're going to do is work with the napkin. We're going to go ahead and what I call napkinize the surface. So if you've been following me for a while, I'm very passionate about napkin art and napkin crafting. I've been doing it for years. I have my own napkin club now, where I send out a variety of unique napkins in a bundle to all of my members every month. And then we have a private group where I share workshops and tutorials and things that they can do with their napkins. And we just have the best time in there. So it's always so much fun. So I'm going to open up my napkin here, and I'm going to go ahead, for starters, I'm going to cut right along the middle seam here. This middle seam right here. Okay, now this is where I want you to kind of watch. I need a little extra napkin besides just the one panel here. So when I cut this one, I'm going to cut it really close to the red bow on this side. Can you see that okay? So do you see I'm taking a little extra right here? So you're going to cut it, this napkin, where it's really close to that red bow on this side. Now I want you to save this because this could be something else. If you wanted to use this as a card front for a Christmas card, or if you wanted to put it on a little small canvas, or if any of you do any kind of art journaling, anything like that, you can have another use for this. This could even be a cute ornament, right? So make sure and save your scrap pieces. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other napkin because remember, we're going to be creating on the back and the front. So cut this. So we're going to put the shorter ones over to the side that we can do other things with. All right. Yes, Nancy, it's 5 by 7 by 1.5. That's exactly right. Yes. Vicki, all the napkins went out on, part of them shipped on Monday, part of them shipped on Tuesday, the December bundles. So they're en route. Keep in mind it's the holidays and the post office is fairly overloaded. I hope they don't take too long to get to you. So I'm doing my lick and stick method, y'all, for separating the napkin, and it works beautifully. This one actually is a 3-ply napkin, but so I just want to show you there's 1 ply, 2 ply, and then the top tissue. So we're going to take off all of those plies. We want to get to the very, very top tissue, and that's really important. And the reason it's important is because if we forget to take a layer off, okay, and it happens. It happens to me, it happens sometimes. If we forget to take a layer off, when we go to decoupage this onto our surface, what happens is almost immediately, almost immediately the top tissue tries to separate off and it kind of turns into a muckety mess. It's not the end of the world. You can always go back in and sand it down and start over, but you know, just want to save you from that creative heartburn. Make sure all your tissue plies come off. And if you have trouble, if the lick and stick method, like what I do, if that doesn't work well for you, you can use a piece of washi tape, painter's tape, you know, something like that, or even just a pin to kind of pick at the corner to get it separated. Okay, so we have these separated. Will the leftovers be big enough to use on the smaller size? Possibly. Let's see. Yes, ma'am. Yes, it will be. It will be. So that's great. Thank you for asking that question. That's good. Okay, so let's get going. I've got my napkin tissue now. I'm going to be using Mod Podge matte for this. I like Mod Podge matte with my wood surfaces. Now, not all surfaces, how should I say this? There are best practices and best mediums for different types of surfaces. But for what we're doing today, the Mod Podge matte is going to be perfect for this, okay? In the future, those are things that if you're not a Napkin Club member, I would highly recommend that you come over and join us, because you're going to learn a lot about what is best to use for different type surfaces. What's best to use if it's glass. What's best to use if it's metal or fabric. And yes, you can put napkins on anything, any kind of surface. And I love it because to me, it's easy art. That's what it is to me. It's easy art. Okay, so I'm going to put a coat of the Mod Podge matte. That's the Mod Podge in the yellow with a yellow label right onto the front, one of the front sides. We'll call this the front side of my chunky house. And I want it to be a healthy coat. So what does that mean? A healthy coat means you should be able to really see that it's on there and it's nice and wet. And I'm not sure how much you can see with the lights, but it should be very nice and wet. Not drippy, not gloppy, but not super thin either. Okay, so just a nice healthy coat. And now I'm going to take my napkin. I've only put Mod Podge on the top, okay? So I'm going to just carefully kind of slide this down in place, knowing that, you know, trying my best to center my door. Okay, and now I'm just going to very lightly tap with my fingers in place. Everything instinctively in you wants to smooth. Use your hand to smooth, but y'all don't do that because this tissue is super fragile. And when it's wet, it's even more vulnerable to tearing. So we're just going to tap it with our finger, hold it in place where we want it to be. And then I'm going to take a chip brush. This is a chip brush, just a natural bristle brush, and it's dry. There's nothing on it. And I'm going to take this brush and I'm going to go straight up and down. And I'm going to pounce. So I'm going to pounce up and down, and I'm really pushing that napkin into the grain of the wood. Okay? It's okay if you have some texture. We don't want any like air bubbles. We don't want bubbles. It's fine to have some texture, some little wrinkles and things, but we're going to push them down to get them as flat as we possibly can. And then the texture I like because it looks more like real art. Okay, so I'm going to kind of hold this up for you to see. Oh, it's going to be so pretty. So pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it on its side here. And I'm going to put a little bit of Mod Podge right here on the side of the house. Now, this is not going to cover the entire side. Don't worry about that. That will get fixed when we put the other napkin on. So just kind of fold it over, a little tap, and we're going to come back with our pouncing brush, our chip brush. Okay. Now, I don't want you to do a thing to this part up here. Don't worry about that right now. We're going to go over on the other side. We're going to do the same thing over here. it down, and then pounce it out. Okay, I've got a little bit hanging off right here at the end, and of course I have the parts hanging off on the rooftop, but I'm not going to worry about that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my heat tool and I'm going to dry this just a little bit, because I'm going to sand off any of these excess pieces, these excess parts of the napkin. But it's a good idea to have it a little bit dry before you do that, because you don't want it to pull the napkin. The part you want to see, the part of the napkin you want to see, you don't want to pull it and tear it. And it's going to be dry pretty quickly. You're going to feel, you can feel pretty easily that it's drying pretty well. Okay, so now you can use lots of things to sand with. You could use a foam, like a foam sanding block like this. You could use a little piece of sandpaper, which I had a minute ago, a little piece of sandpaper if you want. You could even use like like an emery board type sander, or a little sanding file. Really easy, because the napkin tissue is so thin, it's going to sand off very, very easily. So I'm going to come down here on the bottom and just sand away that little tiny little excess that was down there. Super easy. And now I'm going to go up here to the top. And same thing, you can lay this down if you want to. That's easier for you. Over the edge of the table. Just sand that away. And you're going to have to kind of turn it to sand off the sides here. Okay, now this part right here that we sanded off, I'm going to tell you to hang on to it, not only for while we're doing this, because if for some reason like our sides pieces, side napkins don't meet all the way, we can use little bits of that to go in and kind of patch that up. So I'm not going to throw it away yet. If I don't need it, I'll throw it away. Okay, so now we've got this side done. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, thank you so much for sharing the link. I appreciate that. It's also saved in the description on this post, on the Facebook post. So if you just look up into the description, you can find it there if you want to pre-order. All right, I think that's clean enough, dry enough. I should be able to set that down. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And if you just signed on, make sure and sprinkle, 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 because one lucky sprinkler is going to win a kit. You're going to win a Home for the Holidays DIY decor kit. I love doing little things like this because, y'all, things like this make great little gifts. So, like, if you just need a small gift to give to someone, maybe it's something like, it would be kind of fun to give them to your neighbors, because one thing I'm going to show you when we get ready to start doing pin work is you can add your address to them. So like if you were going to give one to each of your neighbors, you could actually put their house number on it. I think that would be cute. Or to your kids, or your besties, your best friends, anybody that you want to give something handmade to. All right, and let's see. Looks like I'm okay. Just trying to make sure my door's somewhat centered without measuring. I'm not going to measure. Okay, I do need to slide over just a hair. Okay, I see my issue. I need to get level right here. Now we got it. Okay, perfect. Okay, so again, just a little pat, hold it in place. Gonna take my chip brush. So yeah, those of you out there, if you have little teeny number stamps, you could stamp your house number on it. I think tonight I'm just gonna write mine on mine, or you could use, like, if you have little tiny number stickers or something. But it'd be so cute to personalize it with their house number. Okay, so this side is looking good. I'm going to turn this over. We're going to do just the same thing. Like same song, second verse. Just bring it over. And I don't want you to worry too much about the sides and what that looks like. People are going to be looking at the front, not the sides. I just had them overlap and just let them be just what they are. It's trying to tear. All right, almost done. Okay, so again, do you see? I just don't want you to worry about it. Just let it be part of the scenery. Let it be part of the scenery. It'll be adorable. It'll be so cute. Okay, so let's dry this again. We're going to dry it before we sand it off. I think I did better lining up my bottom on this one. I don't see any overhang on this side. You sprinkled? Yay! Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Jamie. I think it's so cute, too. It's so cute. All right. I don't think I have anything to sand off here. Let me just see. A little fuzz. All right. So let's come over here. Turn it to get this little edge. And to get this little edge. All right. Perfect. Okay, I didn't need these after all, so I'm going to toss them. However, if for some reason maybe your door doesn't get quite centered and you wind up with a little blank spot, like a little bit of white showing on the sides, that's where you can take this and literally just tear it, right? Just tear it in little pieces and just decoupage it in just to patch up if your napkins don't meet very well, okay? Really super easy. It's going to camouflage it, and no one will know but you. Okay, so now that this is on here, I have to seal the napkin because there's other steps I'm going to be doing to the napkin, but I have to seal the napkin first. And all that means, y'all, all that means is I'm going to put a light coat of the same Mod Podge matte over the napkin. Okay, I want to do some pen work, and I'm going to add some stickles and some, which is like a glitter glue, and we're gonna decorate the front of this house with a little bit of dimension and fun things. So we've got to seal the napkin. So here's what's happening when we seal the napkin. Well, the big thing is it's protecting the napkin. It is still just a napkin. So if my little grand boys come in and they have grimy, chocolatey hands and they go to grab a house, which they very well could because they're 3, my little grand twins, then chocolate's going to get on my house, right? Now, what is a napkin's purpose in life? Well, it's to absorb. So what's it going to do? It's going to absorb that chocolate. And I don't want it to do that. So I like sealing the napkin because it's going to protect it. That way you can clean it, you know, if a spill happens or whatever, you know, things happen. It's protected. Now, the second reason I like sealing the napkin is because when you seal the napkin tissue becomes even more transparent. And that's what I love, y'all. I love for the napkins to become more transparent because then it really looks like art. Let's say it's like a watercolor napkin. It will look like I painted it, right? Like it's just turns into, it really looks handmade, like it was hand painted. And I love that. And depending on the surface you're putting your napkin onto, sometimes we want to see what's behind that napkin, right? Like if we have music paper behind it, we want to see the music notes, right? So we want the napkin to be as transparent as possible. Okay, so now that this is on here, it has to dry. So while it's drying, I'm just going to kind of walk it without touching it. I'm going to walk it over here, and we're going to work on the shingles, okay? We're gonna all become roofers for a little bit this evening, or at least you're gonna watch how to roof. Okay? So, oh, somebody gave me stars. I just noticed that. Thank you so much, y'all. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so you have to have 24 shingles, 12 shingles on each side, but we're not going to cut them all up individually. And by the way, again, because these are actual asphalt, like little asphalt shingles, don't use your good scissors. Use like your crafting scissors, like the scissors you wouldn't mind cutting some, you know, something wired or something like that, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come in here and I'm going to cut them into pairs to start, okay? So cut them into twos, just right in between, okay? Just cut them into twos. So there's two, just cut right in between them into twos. Some of them we'll use as doubles like this. Some of them we'll use as singles. So it's just better to just cut them all into twos, okay? Just like that. Now the next thing I want you to do is on these, do you see how, let's see if I can find some that are really obvious. Do you see how that has a little bump, kind of a bumpity bump right there? Do you see that right there? We want to cut that off. We want this to be nice and smooth. So we want to cut those off to where they're nice and smooth. I'm going to call this a shoulder. Like, see how this little shoulder, this little corner, we want it to be nice and smooth coming down from that shoulder on both sides, okay? So I'm going to sit here for just a second and make sure these are nice and cut off these little whatever these are. It might be easier for you to see it on the back than the front. Just depends on your eyes. And don't take the backing off. Did you hear that? Miss Tracy said. Don't take the backing off because it's so sticky and it will stick on your scissors, and it's just, you don't want that. So leave the backing on while you're trimming. So I'm just cleaning these up again so they look nice and clean on both sides. Donna, these will come in your kit. These will come in your kit with the Home for the Holidays DIY house kit here. But what they are is they're dollhouse shingles. They're like for people that do miniatures, like dollhouses. They're the actual shingle. They're actual shingles for a dollhouse. But I love it because they feel authentic, like they feel real, like they have that asphalt on them. So they're real, like a real shingle would be on a house. Okay, I'm almost done here. And here we go. So let me clean this up. Okay, let's see if this is getting dry now. I'm going to go ahead and pop it with a heat tool just to make sure that it's dry, because I am going to have to hold it. I'm going to have to handle it a little bit as we put the roof on. I believe it, Donna. I mean, there's lots of us that, you know, we have projects sitting around for a while. No biggie. You're getting it done. That's all that matters. You're getting it done. And it's going to look so cute with this house. It'll look so cute. My vision for this is maybe every year we can add, you know, another house at Christmas and we'll have our own little village. Our own little Christmas village, Christmas town. That'd be so cute. Okay. How do you know when it's dry? Well, it won't be sticky. Your hands will be smooth right around. All right. So that part is good to go. Okay. So here we go. Got my house on both sides. It looks really cute. So now we're going to roof. Okay. We're going to roof. So I'm going to try to explain this as best I can. We're going to start, we're making like 4 layers of shingles, okay, of rooftop shingles. And we're actually going to start here at the bottom, okay? Now, again, remember how I said the shoulder, do you see like these little kind of cut corners right there? I'm going to put this on because I want you to see, and then I'll hold it up so that you can really tell what it's going to look like. And I got to get the backing off. Okay. So yeah, places that sell miniatures, things for miniatures, you should be able to find this, okay? But if you're ordering the kit, they're already going to be in the kit for you, so you don't have to go out and hunt them down. Okay, so here we go. You can see it's really, really sticky, really sticking to my finger here. I'm going to position this to where that little shoulder, okay, hang on, let me get it on here, to where that little shoulder is hanging off. Do you see the white edge? Okay, you see the white edge of the rooftop, and then look at it from the side. Do you see how this is hanging off? It's hanging off, and I've actually positioned it right where that little shoulder meets the body, right? Where that little shoulder kind of meets the body. That's where I have lined it up. I'll put it in closer. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. Now here's the next step. There's another step. What I want you to do is you're going to take your fingers, this part that's overlapping, you're going to take your fingers and you're going to push this around. Okay. And it's going to crack. Do you see how it cracked? It's going to crack, but see how it's on that front side of the house? And on this side of the house, I don't know which side is front. Front door, back door, they're the same. So it's going to be real easy but don't panic when you see it split like that. Remember, we're going to make it snowy. We're going to make it cute and all the things. So that is your first step. Okay? Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take one of the doubles and we're going to cut it into singles. So I'm going to cut it to where it's nice and clean. Do you see that? Let me see where I can put it. Nice and clean on those edges. And this is going to go right in the middle. And it's going to cover up where that little white part is. So I'm going to center it. I'm going to center it. Center-ish. I'm centering it right there. You see it? Now it's going to show up more when we dust it with some snow, with some paint. Okay? So that is the step. Now we move on to the next double shingle. And then we're going to line this one up to where that shoulder, right where that shoulder, show you, right where that shoulder touches that line, okay, that first line of shingles. Do you see that? So you're always going to have a little white area for this step, okay? And the reason I'm telling you this is because I want to make sure that your shingles make it all the way up, right? All the way up to the top. So they have to be spaced. So I'm giving you my spacing tip. And then just push it around and really, really push it. It's going to grab a hold of your house block really well. And now I've got to clean up another single here. Right, cleaning up another single. I promise it really does go fast. Once you just kind of figure out the order and the placement, it's going to go really fast. the sticky is pulling the Mod Podge off my fingers. Okay, we've got 2 layers on. So now I'm going to keep going. Anybody have questions on this part? Anybody have questions? Super cute, super easy. Love that this already has the sticky on it. That's great. If you felt like you needed some additional sticky, you could put some hot glue or something underneath it. Okay, there goes the next row. And now I'm going to cut myself a single, make sure it's nice and clean cut. And put that one on. Okay, we're almost to the top. So it's basically, it's 4 layers, 4 rows. I guess we'll call them rows. 4 rows of shingles. 3 shingles per row, right? A double and a single. So it takes 12 for one side. Okay, when you get to the top, do whatever you have to do to get to the top. Okay, let me explain that. Let me fold this down over it. So you'll see I have a little more white showing this time, but that's okay. I just need to get to the top. I need to get to the top. And then I'll put my single on and it will just be darling, darling, darling. And this one goes on. Okay, so now I love crunching it. I love folding it over like that because I love how that looks on the front, on the front sides of the house. I think that looks really good. So now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay. No, it's got a really strong adhesive coating. When you peel this off, it's got a really strong adhesive coating. If for some reason you feel like it's not grabbing for some reason, you can add some hot glue, but you shouldn't have to. It's really strong. So just remember to line up where that little shoulder kind of meets the body on your very first one here. Crunch it over the side. So it is kind of coming off the edge. Don't forget that. It's not right level. It's coming off the edge. We have a little overhang. And I like the little overhang. I think that looks good. So a single. Come on. If it's hard to get the backing off, you might have to use a pin. I can usually get my fingernail underneath it, but okay, and I'm just gonna keep shingling. Do we have to pay with card on club or another card? That's what I want to do. I'm not sure what that means. Oh no, you can purchase this. You're purchasing this through the store website, Elizabeth, not through the Napkin Club. So you can use whatever card you want. Okay, this is going to link you to the store website. You can choose whatever card you want to use. It doesn't have to be the one linked to your Napkin Club. Okay. What are the shingles made out of? It's actual asphalt. Like if you could touch it, it's really rough. It's like actual asphalt, just like an asphalt shingle would be on your home, on your house. It's just so neat. And so I love it because it feels and looks so authentic. I think it's awesome. All right, I'm working my way up. Yeah, I really like doing both sides for sure because I move things around so much and I do so much what I call vignette decorating or container decorating, which is like tier tray decorating, that kind of thing. So I want all sides to look pretty and finished. Plus, if you're going to give it as a gift, it just looks so much better to be, you know, all pretty and finished. All right, one more row to go. And remember, when you hit this part, you just make it work. You bring it up to the top. Oh, there it is. And if there's a little white edge showing on the tip top edge of the roof, you know, where the sides of the roof come together, don't worry about that, because like I said, we're going to dust it to make it look snowy here in just a second. Crunch that over. I love how you can just fold it over and you kind of hear the crunch. That's why I say crunch. Crunch it over, because you can kind of hear the crunch when you fold it over. Okay, last shingle. There we go. So see what I'm talking about? See how that little bit of white shows in there? Not to worry. It's going to look great. Doesn't that look good? So pretty and so authentic. I love it. So 24 shingles come in your kit, which you'll need 12 for each side. And if you'll do it just like I did, cut them into twos first, because some of them you'll need a pair and then you'll need a single. And I just think it goes faster that way for you when you start to create. Okay, so let's make this house look snowy. Obviously, it's kind of a snowy scene here, right? You've got a sled right here in the snow. The trees look like they have some snow on them. There's some little dotted, little white dots, which I'm assuming are little snowflakes coming down out of the sky. So our roof should be snowy. It should be snowy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my chalk paint. Okay, this is my Simplicity, right? The Simplicity is the color that I'm using. And I'm going to use the lid for this. This is the paintbrush I think this is the paintbrush I was painting with. Let me make sure this is paint, not Mod Podge. I have done that before, mixed up my brushes. Anybody else done that before? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of paint. Not too much, a little bit of paint, and I'm actually going to pounce it right into the lid. Now, if you had a paper plate or something, you could do that, because I don't want to over paint. This is kind of like almost like a dry brush technique, okay? You're excited to get yours? Good. Can you see the sides of the house, please? Yes, for sure, Rita. So the sides of the house, I just let them meet. I didn't worry about it. I just let them meet. I just consider it kind of foliage trees. I just let them meet, just like that. Okay, now depending on which, because there's right and left sides of the napkin, so depending on which napkin side you use, it might be the same side. It just depends. It depends. But I didn't want you to worry about that, because it's going to look good either way. Okay, either way. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start here. I'm going to hold the house kind of like this, and I'm going to start by just kind of edging the edges of the shingles. You see that? Very much a dry brush effect. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I want the edges here to be a little heavier with what we'll call snow. I want them to be a little bit heavier. Now I'm going to come to the front. Now when you come to the front, I want you to be kind of careful because we don't want to get too much paint on, we don't want to get paint on the house. So let me show you kind of what happens with when you crunch them over. Do you see how they're not like super flat? So it's really easy to just capture the edges here. Kind of like, just kind of a dry brush. You can always go back in and add more, right? You can always go back in and add more. And then the other place I'm going to add some is going to be right here on the tip top, right here. Quite a bit, actually. I'm going to add some kind of right here where the shingles meet. There would definitely be some snow right there. It would be snow-capped right there. Okay, so once I've done that, now I'm going to take it from side to side, okay? So I'm going to try to do this where you can see it and I can see it too. So I'm going to kind of just swipe in from both sides, and that's going to highlight that middle shingle. And like I said, I can always go back in and add some more. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that awesome? So depending on how snowy you want yours to be. I don't want to turn them white. Like I still, you know, I want them to still look like the asphalt shingles. I just want them to look snowy. And I feel like I want this side to look a little snowier. Just be careful, very little paint on your brush, more of a dry brush kind of effect. Not too much paint. Oh, I love it. Isn't that just the cutest? Look at your front and your back. Be sure that it's looking snowy enough for you. Some of you live in areas that get snow like all the time. You may want more snow. This time I'm coming back in with a little more paint on my brush. Pouncing down, but I have a little bit more paint on my brush. And I'm going to just kind of, hang on, I have to see it to do this, so I'm just going to kind of pop some in here. So it's almost kind of just dabbing it here and there, okay? See how that side looks really dusty? This side looks a little more like we have little clusters of snow kind of. So I'm really just doing this more towards the bottom edges and a little bit on this kind of side corner, whatever this is, the little part where we crunched over the side, where we spread it over. And it looks a little more dimensional that way because you're kind of pouncing it rather than brushing it, than swiping it. So it just looks more dimensional that way. I hope that shows up okay with the lighting in here. Isn't it so cute? And it's easy. This is easy. Easy breezy. Easy, easy stuff. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it alone. So, I'm going to dry it really quick in case I touch it. It doesn't have to look the same on both sides. I just like it looking snowy. Okay, so there we go. There we go. So cute. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do some pen work because I am going to be adding stickles to the rooftop as well. Let me show you. Where's the finished one? Right here. I'm going to be adding some stickles to this because I want this rooftop to sparkle. I want my snow to sparkle. I want it to almost appear like there's maybe some ice up there sparkling. So we're going to be adding that, but we're going to be adding that other places too. And I kind of like that to be the very last thing because it takes a little while to dry. So it's usually the very last thing I add, and then I'm able to just kind of walk away, let it dry, and not be tempted to touch it and mess something up. Okay? All right, so here we go. I'm going to do a little bit of pen work. Now, what is pen work? Somebody's probably going to want to know, what is pen work and where is my pen? Let's see if this is the nib that I want to use. Yeah, okay, I can use this one. So let me show you the difference that pen work can make, okay? So I want you to look at, I'm going to hold them both up here. I want you to look at this, the napkin, this house. And now I want you to look at this house. Can you see the pen work? Look at the door. Maybe look at the door specifically to start. Look at the bows, right? There is some pin work there, and it just makes, can you kind of see the difference? I hope you can. It really makes things stand out, in my opinion, okay? Here's another one you can look at to really see the difference. Look at the presents on the sled and the scarf. See the presents, the scarf, and the sled on that one? Now look at it on that one. Now look at it on that one. See the difference? To me, it just makes so much difference. And I think adding the pin work brings in a little bit more of that handcrafted quality, okay? So I'm going to work on the door first. I'm using a pit pin. These are my favorite to do this with, Faber-Castell pit pin. I'm using the small nib. You can see it's got a nice little fine point there. And you never, ever, ever do pin work unless you have sealed your napkin. Remember, because napkins absorb. So if I try to do pin work on top of a napkin that has not been sealed, it can absorb the ink. So you have to be careful about that. There are times that I do it, but I use the smallest little, tiniest little nib that I can find, right? So it's nice to have this on here. So I'm going to just, and this is the thing, y'all. When you do pin work, it's not supposed to be perfect. Every time when your hand naturally lifts up, I just want you to skip a little space. The faster you go, the better it's going to look. We're not trying to make everything look perfect and exact. It's kind of think of it kind of like a doodly trace. And I like to do what's called a double trace. So I kind of go back over where I was before, and it's okay if it's not exactly right on. So do you see my pin work around the door? Those black kind of wavy, wiggly lines. They can be wiggly. I'm going to do the little panels, the little glass panels here on the door next. So, and it's going to be wiggly. You've got some texture going on your canvas. That's going to cause you to be wiggly. Any of you that have trimmers in your hand, it's not going to cause you any kind of issues because we actually want a little wiggle. We want a little wiggle going on. See where the light comes through the door there? I'm going to add some on the panels of the door, which kind of go into the wreath. So just stop when you kind of get to the wreath portion. Just really adds a pop, and oh my gosh, I just love it. It's kind of hard for me now not to do pin work on my napkinized pieces because it just looks so good. So I did the bottom, I'm doing the panels, I'm doing the little mail slot and the little, I guess this is like a little doorknob. So see how it's around the mail slot, the panels, the doorknob. I'm going to do some around each of the lamps, the lights here, on the porch lights here on either side. So I'm going to kind of go around them. I want them to stand out. I think they're so cute. So there's one. See the difference between the two? Really stands out more. All right. You like the pin work too, Wendy? I love doing pin work. And to me, it's relaxing. I notice some people, they feel stressed about it, but honestly, the faster you go, the better it's going to look because you're not thinking. It's when you start thinking and you start trying to get it to look a certain way, that's when it's going to go awry. You really just kind of go with the flow. And it becomes part of the artwork. So both of my lampposts are done. I'm going to do the bows at the top above the door, okay? So I'm going to kind of go around the center of the bow and then all the kind of the little layers of the bow. And this is going to really help these stand out more. You can add little extra whatevers here and there. So look at that, the bow right above the door. See how that really pops as opposed to the two bows next to it? Really cute. Now I don't want you to do anything to the wreath because we're actually going to be adding some glitter ornaments to the wreath. And I did pin mark on my wreath to start, and then I realized that so much of it got covered up by the ornaments that I'm not sure it's really worth the time. I'm going to go ahead and do both bows. And the pin just glides along. It just glides so nicely. So now all of my bows are done. Okay. Now the only other place where I'm going to add some pin work is on this kind of this step up to the door and then the presents and the sled. So I'm going to kind of go kind of around this kind of step up, these steps kind of going leading up to the door. And again, double trace. A double trace is where you just quickly go back over the line that you previously made. The double trace just takes the pressure off of it looking like it's crooked, like it makes it on purpose crooked or wavy or whatever. Artistic, artsy. And so I'm going to come over here on my presents. I think this is one of the cutest things about this napkin. I love the sled. I love the presents stacked on the sled. I like the little scarf. That's just so cute. So I'm going to come do some pin work on those. And again, do you see how fast it's going? It's going fast because I'm not thinking. I'm just doing my little pin work and just let it be whatever it's going to be. I'm going to do a little bit on the sled here. Sometimes it needs that double, but not always. It's up to you. And then I definitely wanted to add some on the scarf down here. So I'm adding a little something to the scarf. I'm going to come in and just kind of trace it out. There's a little bit of fringe on the ends of this scarf. I'm going to do the little lines, the little stripes. And then on the ends of the scarf, I'm just kind of creating my own little extra fringe. You see that little extra fringe down there? All the presents are done. I see one part I didn't do, and it's the rope to the sled. So let's go ahead and do that. Make that a little more weighty. Isn't that just the cutest? You can do as much or as little pin work as you want. I mean, it's beautiful already. I'm going to do a little bit just around the window, just the window frame, the white part of the frame. That's all. And then you'll want to take this over to the sides and, of course, the other side of your house. So I'm not going to do that with you tonight because I think you get the gist here. But like if you're, like the sled goes around, so you'll want to do a little bit of pin work there. The window goes around, so you'll want to do a little pin work there, right? Anywhere that you need to add a little extra, especially the windows, really. And then you'll do the other side. Okay, so add as much or as little as you want. This is about what I'm adding. That's all I'm going to add other than doing the sides and the other side. But I'm going to go ahead and move on. The pin that I'm using is a pit pin. So you did 2 coats of the pin work. Yeah, basically I call it a double trace because you're going to kind of trace it out once and then quickly do it again, right? And it just kind of gives you this really kind of cool doodly, hand-drawn kind of doodly look. Really takes the pressure off of your pin work having to be perfect, right? And it being imperfect is what makes it so awesome. That's what makes it good, in my opinion. Okay, so let's move on and let's work on, like I said, I'm going to save all I'm going to save the sparkly stuff for the very end, the sparkly, and I am going to use a little bit of glossy accents as well. So I'm going to start with the little glitter balls here. We are giving you, just so you know, when you get your kit, you're going to have a little bit of extra on the glitter balls, just in case one of them rolls off the table and can never be found. You know, that happens sometimes. And I need to make sure my glue gun's turned on. So I just turned that on. So what I'm going to do first is you're going to have some red and you're going to have some gold. Okay, just these little glitter balls. Now, they are going to be so much easier to put onto your surface, and they're going to look like they're part of the surface if we cut them in half, okay? So whatever you have in your bundle, I just want you to take, like I have these little bitty precision scissors here. I'm going to take them, you're going to pinch one kind of right between your thumb and your finger, and then just cut it in half. It cuts super easy because it's just styrofoam, okay? It's just styrofoam. Now, when you cut styrofoam, it can warp it to where it's not really a circle anymore, and it's so tiny you're not going to be able to see. But all you have to do is just press it back with your fingers, and it turns back into a circle. So we need, we're going to need 8 halves. So you're going to need 4 glitter balls, gold, for the wreath. And of course, you can use these any way you want. You don't have to use them on your project just like I did. I'm just going to squeeze these back out. So I need 4 halves times 2, so that's 8. So four balls cut in half. 4 little glitter balls cut in half. Okay, so got that now. And then these are going to go on the wreath. Now, I told you, let me find the sample here. Okay, I told you I did pin work on the wreath, and then I realized why. Because these little glitter balls are really going to cover up a lot of it, so I'm not going to do pin work on it this time. I just want the wreath on the front door to look dimensional, right? I want it to look dimensional. So I'm going to put, there's 4 kind of on the top and 4 on the bottom. So you're basically not going to have one exactly, or do I have one exactly in the center? Let me count them again. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So we're going to put a little drop of glue right at the center, kind of in the wreath, center top, and in the wreath, center bottom. And then just lay your little glitter ball right into it. So it's just kind of right in the middle of the wreath. Don't worry about the glue hairs. I'll show you how to get rid of those here in just a second. And now let's go to the outside edges. So we're going to do basically right, left, top, and bottom. Because this is going to help us space them well, right? It's going to help us space them out. This is where having a precision tip glue gun is going to help you so much. Y'all, if you're crafting out there, I'm trying to get all the crafters in all of the world to buy themselves a precision tip glue gun. This is Surebonder. They sell it at Walmart. They sell it at Hobby Lobby. It's all over. But get yourself a precision tip because it's so nice when you're crafting because it controls your glue. So here we go. To see, I have a top, a bottom, a right and a left. And then I'm just putting a little ornament in between each of these. So now I know exactly where I need to put a little drop of glue, a little drop of glue. And we are making kind of a circle. We want to kind of stay within the circular look of our wreath. So pull it out however you need to make sure it stays looking like a circle and not a diamond. And not all of them will be the exact same size, and that's okay. like to really kind of push them, kind of flattening them a little bit. Kind of push them down. That makes sure that the glue is really nice and spread out. Look how cute that is. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Now to get rid of your glue hairs, this is just a little crafty tip trick. If you use your heat gun, right, and you just put it over your glue hairs, they just disintegrate. They just disappear. So you can just put it right over them. So if you have any glue hairs, they're just going to disappear. So now I'm going to work on my garland up here at the top, okay? So basically on each side of the big red bow, oh, I haven't cut them in half yet. I'm sorry. Let me cut these in half. I almost got ahead of myself here. These are a little bit smaller, or they seem like they are. Maybe they're not. And you're going to need 5 cut in half because there will be 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I need one more. And then, like I said, they're going to kind of warp more into an oval when you cut them, but then just use your fingers to squeeze them, and they'll go right back into a circle shape. I'm going to do this now before I start gluing. Okay, I think I got them all. So on either side of the bow, we're going to put 2 ornaments. We're going to start with 2. So I'm going to lay that right into that drop of hot glue. Right into that drop of hot glue. So between the big bow and the small bow, there are going to be 2 red half ornaments. Okay? They look so much better halved, so I hope y'all will half them. I think they just look more like part of the actual part of the scenery here, rather than just a little ball, you know, stuck on there. Okay, so we're going to do this one, and we need one more. Okay, so now we have 2, 1 on each side. Now we're going to start going over on the other side of the bow, like right over here, okay? And we're going to have 3. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. So they're going to kind of be coming down. Hang on, let me get them glued in here and then I'll show you. It'll be much easier to understand. Okay, so see how it's kind of coming down? It's kind of like there's one kind of up by the bow, but then it starts to angle and come down like it's coming down as part of that garland. Okay. Thank you, Joy, for posting the website. If you're looking to order this kit, it's $15 and you can order it. There's a link in the description on this post. So if you go up and you look at the description on my Facebook Live on the post, that's where you'll find the link to order. And our goal is to be shipping them all out. Those of you that are ship customers, not pickup customers, our goal is to have them shipping to you by Monday at the latest. All right. Cuteness, cuteness, cuteness. And of course, everything I'm showing you, you'll do to the other side as well. I'm just doing one side right now. And I'm getting rid of the glue hairs. So cute. So now we're going to talk about the glitter and the gloss. Now, if you look at my bows, they look kind of flat, right? They look kind of flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a product called Glossy Accents on them. Glossy Accents, here it comes in a bottle like this, but there's also a little small bottle, kind of small, like stickles. This is the sparkle I'm going to be using, the diamond stickles. And there's a small bottle like that as well. So I want you to look at this one that's already done. Look at my bows. I'm going to try to kind of hold them in the light. Do you see they have glossy accents on them? And what that does is it builds up a layer. It makes it more dimensional and it just looks great. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, I better not do this. Okay, I'm going to wait and do this when I'm ready to just actually sit this down. But the only thing I put glossy accents on was the bows, just to give them some dimension, to build them up, give them dimension, give them shine. It really makes that pen work pop, and it looks just so, so good. So that's the only place where I used that, okay? So let's go ahead and let's work on actually, let's work on our bow. I forgot, we have to do our bow. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. So we're waiting on glossy, we're waiting on stickles, we're going to go ahead and do our bow. So everybody will have this ribbon in your kit. It is stripe on one side, polka dot on the other, so you can make it whichever side you want to see, right? If you want the stripe side, that's what I did on this one. If you want to see the stripes, you can have stripes. If you want to see polka dots, you can have polka dots. Okay, so we also have our little piece of twine here. And we have our jingle bells. So what I'd like for you to do first is to take the twine and thread it through the little whatever you call that. Right there, you're just going to thread it through. And I want you to thread it all the way to the center. Like bring it to the center and then just tie it off in a knot. Just like that. That way the jingle bell is going to stay right there in the center. Let me move that. So the next thing we're going to do is the bow. All right. Okay. Are we doing okay? Have I missed people's comments? Okay. Thank you, Sandra. You're so sweet. And I see people are still sprinkling. That's wonderful. Yes, glossy is the same thing we used on when we did the little frog canvas for the eyes. That's exactly right, Pam. Some of you might have a product called crystal lacquer. That works in the same way. Sometimes there's different products you have that do the same thing, but I use Glossy Accents. Okay, Glossy Accents by Ranger. This is the big bottle, but they have a small bottle too that I really actually like the small bottle better, to be quite honest. So, okay, so let's make our bow. I'll make a polka dot one since I did the stripe on that one. So what you're going to do is just kind of create yourself what I'm going to call a tribute ribbon. See how it looks like a tribute ribbon, like an awareness ribbon, just crossed over like that. I'm going to take the top here and I'm going to bring it right down behind where everything crisscrosses. And then just scrunch it up. Okay, just scrunch it up. Let's do it again. Tribute ribbon. These will be your tails. These will be your loops, okay? Tribute ribbon. Take this part and just push it down behind where they crisscross and then scrunch it up. Scrunch it up, okay? Super easy. This is a great way to make a bow out of a ribbon that's kind of thick that you don't want a big thick knot in the middle of. Now I'm going to take my jingle bell here and I'm going to put it over the center of all of this. I'm going to try to make sure it's on the right side. We'll be able to pull it around here in a minute. And then I'm going to tie this off. Now this is easier said than done sometimes because you're having to hold it. If you have somebody in the house that can hold it for you, that's always helpful. Or you can use like a little clothespin or something, a little clip, you know, to kind of hold it. So basically we're just tying off the jingle bell in the middle of the bow. And then I'm going to go ahead and just knot this off, even though I'm going to do something else with the rest of this twine. I just want you to see what this part looks like. And this ribbon has a little bit of movement to it, like you can fluff it. I don't know if it's true wire. It doesn't feel like a true wired ribbon, but whatever it must be a really, really soft wire in there, really thin, soft wire. Okay, is that not easy? That's so easy. I'm going to cut a little dovetail in the ends of my ribbon, and how I'm going to do that is just cut a slit right up the center of the ribbon, as deep as I want it to go, and then cut from one corner to the top of that slit and another corner to the top of that slit. This is a great way to make a flag end. Sorry. That's a great way to make a flag end without folding and cutting, because how many times have you taken a piece of ribbon and folded it and cut it and thought you were cutting it the right way to make the flag end or the dovetail, and then you realize you cut it wrong? And then you fold it again and you go to cut it, and I'll be danged if you didn't cut it wrong again. So I don't fold ribbon anymore, or paper, or anything like that anymore. I just trim to the length that I want it to be, and I splice just a little cut right up the center. See that? Right up the center, and then corner to the top of the slit and corner to the top of the slit. And it comes out perfect every time. And then I don't have to mess up and my ribbon tails be super short. Right? Okay, so let's go back to our house here. I'm going to go ahead and just glue these in place, and then I'm going to add my stickling around them. You're going to have some pieces of, I'm going to call them sprigs here, okay? We're going to have some sprigs here, and they are bendy. So you can kind of work them, bend them. If they're too long for you, you can cut them down. I'm going to cut this one down just a little bit. And I'm going to put these on my house. You can do whichever side of the house you want to do. I'll show you on this one. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do this part. Typically, I would tell you, you know, you might want to sparkle it, let that dry, then put your bow on. But I want to make sure that you know how to put this on here, okay? All right, so let's do, this is the side I did. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and come up here. For whatever reason, I'm one of those people that when I adorn a side, I always adorn the left side. I don't know why. I'm right-handed. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I'm not really sure. I'm going to put a nice little a blobby line here of hot glue going down the middle. Can y'all see that? And then I'm going to take my little spriggy-doos here, and then I'm going to lay them into that hot glue and just hold them for a second until they grab. Okay. And again, they have wire in them, so you can shape them. You can, you know, make it look cute. If it's too much for you, you could just put one on if you want. Oh, that looks so cute. I'm going to kind of mess with it a little bit. Now I'm going to go back to my bow here, and I'm going to take the tails of this and bring them up in front on top of my jingle bell, okay? Kind of on top of my jingle bell, so basically bringing them to the front where they're kind of up at the top of the jingle bell, okay? And then I'm going to tie a bow. And with the rest of my twine here, you can kind of pull the tails to get the bow to be whatever size you want it to be. How many of you are liking this little free workshop? Are you enjoying it tonight? Oh, thank you for the stars, y'all. Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying it. If you are enjoying it and would like to learn more about my napkin club, let me know in the comments, and I'll come back and post a link for you. I'm just tying a little knot in the tails here, so that way it won't completely unravel. And now we have something that looks like this. Okay. So back to the hot glue. I'm just going to kind of put in some hot glue kind of in the center of all this sprigginess. I'm going to fluff open my loops here. I'm going to actually put my fingers in the loops, and then I'm going to lay this down into all of that glue and the spriggy stuff. That way I don't want to get any glue on the loops. I don't know if you can see that. Just kind of hold it, let it grab. And then once it's grabbed, then you can come back and you can fuss and, you know, all the things. You can kind of play around with it. Right? And if you have a tail that's gone wild, you can put a little glue underneath the tail if you need to. Is that not just the cutest? Now, I'm not going to put anything on this side. I'm just going to leave it just like that. But if you wanted to, you could even just put in another jingle bell right there if you wanted to, or another little adornment, something there if you felt like you needed it. I'm just going to leave it just like this. Okay? All right, let's talk about sparkle. We're at the end. We're at the end. You've done so good. You guys have done so good watching. So when we add the sparkle, okay, I'm using stickles, and I like clear stickles. I love diamond. I love the clear that's called diamond. I also love the clear that's called crystal. So either one of those are my favorite, crystal and diamond. So I'm going to take this, and this is a glitter glue, basically a glitter glue. It's got a really nice thin tip right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of come along and outline my shingles here. Okay, just outline them. Because I want it to look kind of snowy, kind of icy. I don't know if you can see that in the light. It's always so hard to find the right angle. Can y'all even see that? I don't know if you can see that or not. But I'm coming around I'm going to come around the front here and just kind of drag, just squeeze some out and kind of drag it. And don't try to make it look too perfect. Let it be chunky. Let it be, it's kind of thinking about it like ice, like snow, like ice. Let's see if I can come at it from this angle. Okay, that's better. All right, so can you see that? Let it be kind of chunky. It's going to take a little while to dry, but it's going to look kind of snowy, icy, and it's beautiful when you put it out on display because it's going to catch the light and sparkle and just be so pretty. So that's the way I want you to do your shingles, and you can just go as heavy with that as you want. So instead of pouncing it everywhere, it's like you're kind of outlining the shingle and then you're just kind of blobbing some here and there. Fun, you get to blob. Blobbing is fun. Okay, so on the house itself, on the front of the house here, I put just a little bit. You're going to squeeze out just a tiny bit and use the tip as like your brush. Or you can use a small paintbrush. I'm going to put some in the glowing, you know, the glass part of the window on the door. You can see that sparkle. Isn't that pretty? I'm going to put some on the mail slot and the handle and the lights, the yellow part of the porch lights here, because that's the part that's glowing, right? I also did it all over the scarf, just sparkly scarf here. And I did it on the presents. So you could do part of the presents if you just wanted to do like the ribbons. But I kind of liked it all sparkling. So I'm just going to kind of squeeze some in here. This is where, like I said, you can take a paintbrush. You can take a little paintbrush if you need to. And then just go in and kind of pounce. Just kind of pounce it in wherever you want. It's going to be much thinner. This is thin. The roof is thick. Okay? The icy, snowy, whatever sparkle on the roof, on the shingles is thick. However, this part is thin, so this is going to be probably easier to do maybe even with a brush. Okay, be nice and thin. And then, of course, if anywhere else you want to add sparkle, anywhere else you want to add sparkle, okay? You can add that wherever you want. Now, the other place I wanted sparkle was down here in the snow. So I'm going to just kind of squeeze out some lines of stickles here, my sled. And again, come back with your brush and just kind of move all that pretty sparkle around. See if you can see it. Oh, it's so hard to show sparkle on the camera. You can see it on the presents, I know. Okay, so I want anywhere where there's snow, I want that snow to sparkle. And I would do this on the sides too. Okay, so anywhere where there's snow, let's have that snow sparkle. And of course you can, let's see if we can do it that way. There we go. You can kind of see it there. There we go. It's just you just have to get everything at the right angle. It's so hard. So sparkle wherever you want it, anywhere that you want it. Glossy, just on the bows. And I'm actually going to write my house number on here really quick before we go too much further. So where do you think would be a good place to put the house number? I was debating about this because we have the mail slot, we have that. I can't really put it, wasn't sure if I should put it right here on the door, like at the bottom of the door. I don't want to put it on the steps, so I'm thinking the bottom of the door is going to be I think that's just going to be the best place. So again, if you have stamps, you could stamp this. If you have stickers, you could put stickers down with Mod Podge and Mod Podge over them. Or you can just handwrite it in. Okay? And it doesn't have to be perfect. There is my house number right there, 3816. The other place it could be cute is coming down. I should have thought about that. It could be cute coming down like vertically, you know, make your own little sign, like a little sign. But this is good enough for me. This is just fine. And that will dry. I don't have to put any kind of sealer or anything back over that. All right, let's do the glossy accents here real quick. Make sure that I'm unclogged. So glossy accents, it's like a glaze. I want you to think of it, it's like a dimensional glaze. So it's not runny. It stays where you put it. So I'm going to squeeze out kind of a drop of it and then just kind of pull it with the tip on all these portions of the bow. And so the whole point of it is for it to be dimensional. So don't try to do this. Don't try to like brush it on like paint. We want it to be thick and dimensional. So it's gonna, see how it looks right there? It's gonna look kind of milky at first, but it's gonna dry crystal clear and it stays raised up. It stays raised up. So it's just really cool. I would do one side at a time and let this kind of sit. So I'm just kind of blobbing out like a round little blob of it and then just kind of pulling through with the tip. I want it to be really dimensional, really thick. So let it sit flat. I'm going to let this sit flat just for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, something like that. And then I can turn it over to the other side and then just, well, no, you can't. Scratch that. Glossy takes a while to dry, okay? So I'm going to put this on one side, maybe even tonight, and let it sit. Don't do the other side until tomorrow. You can't lay on this. You could lift it up. You could sit it up, okay, while it's drying after it's laid flat for about 5-10 minutes. But you can't lay it on top, right? Like you can't do that. That will mess it up. And most of the time when you think the glossy accents is dry, you need to wait a little bit longer before you touch it, because it could take the imprint of like your fingerprint. And if you don't want to use the glossy, you could use your stickles there. It's totally up to you. You can do whatever you want. Okay, so I have to lay this one to the side because that has to dry. And I'm going to bring our sample back over because I want to show you some things. So here is our sample all done. We have that wonderful icy chunky stickles up there. It looks so cute. Everything is decked out down here. It just looks adorable. Everything's dry. Oh, I put glossy on my lamps too. I just realized that. I put glossy on the lamps too. Sure did. Sure did. Okay. So that way you know. So I wanted to show you a couple ways that I think would be really cute to display this. The houses. One of them is like this. I love these wood slices. I love them. I think they're so cute. And I like to make risers with them. And all you need are little ball feet. You just need little ball feet here to put underneath. And that raises it up and it just makes a cute little table, right? So if you wanted to, you could have this on here. If you wanted to have a second house on here, right? Like you could do a cute little arrangement on this. Or you could put a Christmas tree with it, like a little Christmas tree. I have my Christmas tree in another container right here, but I'll show it to you here in just a second. So any kind of a riser would look really cute to put your little houses on, or a tiered tray, or even just a shelf sitter, just something like that. That's one way that's really super fun. And then I want to show you this right here. This is how I'm going to be displaying mine. Okay, so let me kind of put it in here. Y'all, this is just a frame. It's not even really a frame. It's like a wood sign from Hobby Lobby. It's just long and kind of narrow and thin that I picked up. But y'all, this could be anything. It could be a sign, a pallet sign, whatever. The reason I liked this sign is because it's raised up, because I put faux snow. All right, I don't know if you can see in there, but there's faux snow all in the bottom of this. And I love that because it contains it, right? Remember I said container decorating? So I don't want the snow getting everywhere, but it's kind of cute that it contains it by having a frame around it, right? A frame around it. I intend to put feet on this. I have not put them on there permanently yet, but I intend to put feet on there. I need a little more snow. I think I need a little more snow in here to kind of build up. And this little tree came from Walmart. Isn't he cute? I think he's such a cute size. So this is just a great kind of a fun way to do what I call container decorating. So everything is kind of in this little, it's like I'm creating my own little scene right here in this sign, right? That I can put feet on or not. I don't even have to put feet on it. I could leave it just like this. After Christmas, I take everything off. I put the snow back into a baggie or whatever. And then if I want to use this sign to make something, I can. Right? So I could also see like a little tray, like a tray with a lip or something on it, right? A little metal tray would be really super cute. Lots of different ways. I also think these look cute on levels. So if you're going to do them on a tiered tray, then, you know, you have one here and you have one here and you have something else down here. So having these levels. If you don't have a tiered tray, you can make your own levels. You can stack books even if you want to create levels and have your little houses or things on top of them at different heights and things like that. Yes, a dough board, like a charcuterie board, would be adorable to create a little scape on, right? Create a little scene on top of. We call that vignette decorating. I called this container decorating because I'm containing the snow, right? Now, if you had a huge big glass jar, I have a really huge big glass pickle jar that I found at like Canton or somewhere. Like I'm a picker, so I like to pick things all the time. I could take that huge pickle jar and actually, the mouth of it is wide enough that I could actually put my house down into that pickle jar. I could fill it all up with rock salt or salt or rock salt. Rock salt is so cheap. That's a really good one to put in there. Sugar, whatever it is, whatever you want to put in there. Faux snow, and actually put, so things inside of glass things are really pretty. Or a cloche. If you have a cloche to go over a house, that would be really cute too. So lots of ways that you can use these, lots of ways. Or you could simply put it on your desk at work and just let it make you happy when you look at it, right?